Okay, so today we're doing something super new and exciting. Not actually. There's like 4 billion videos already online about Wish and like remaking Wish clothing, but like you just gotta join the bandwagon, you know? Recently, and by recently I mean like in April, ordered a bunch of random stuff off of Wish, because who hasn't done that at some point? And like, I've seen the videos, I know it's mostly trash and nothing looks like the way it's supposed to, but like I needed to do it. I mainly ordered like stickers and stuff, and they were actually all really cute and they came in a normal amount of time. But in the depths of despair, I saw these shoes, white boots, and they were so cute and they looked just like kind of old-fashioned cottagecore nonsense. I was like, gotta have them. They were like one of those things that was like $2, but then shipping's like $10. I don't even know. I ordered them, didn't really think anything of it. Flash forward to last week, I finally get the package. What are you doing? I finally get the package and the boots are finally here. They weren't great. Like, they're not bad, but they're not good, you know? Like, I saw them and I was like, yep, this is cheap leather. Not even leather. This is like plastic. And this is such a bright, hideous white that I was like, oof, what was I thinking when I bought these? But then I was like, you know what? I spent the money. We're gonna find a way to make it work. So I did some experimenting, ordered some things off Amazon, and I found a way to make these less bad. Not like outstanding, but less bad. So I did some testing before doing this video because I was like, if it all fails, I don't want to film it. And this is the finished result. So I ended up getting some special leather paints. I used a little bit of watercolor paints. I used some, that's pretty much it. I changed the laces out for a ribbon, and honestly, I'm really happy with them. I don't know how well it's gonna wear, like how well they're gonna hold up. I plan on spraying these with some you know, acrylic setting stuff later, but I mean, we'll see. But I think it was pretty successful, so I'm gonna go ahead and do the same to this one and show you how to turn these really hideous Wish boots that you probably shouldn't spend your money on in general into something a little less hideous. All right, let's talk supplies. So I went on Amazon, did some research, was trying to figure out what I should do for dyes. I just kind of searched leather dye or whatever, I don't remember. And I came up with these guys. They're just these little boxes. They were pretty cheap. I think these each were like $6 or $7. And they had some pretty decent reviews, so I thought, why not? People in the reviews said to use the color chart, not just look at the bottles. And I'm glad I did that, because this one is this off-white color, and I thought that's perfect, because that's kind of what I want, is to do an off-white, less bright, you know what I'm saying? But then I was like, I don't know, I had this feeling like it was still going to be too white than what I was going for. So I went ahead and grabbed this one, which was shade 140, called Ice. And it's kind of like this, I don't know, this like gray, cool gray with like hints of brown, like a grayish, you know what I mean? Anyway, so each kit comes with this little sponge thing that actually works surprisingly well, and this little brush. The other one I broke in like 2 seconds, but the brush actually is not too bad. Like, it's not as, you know, like plasticky and gross as those like little watercolor brushes that everyone uses in like kindergarten. And then each kit comes with this preparer little shindig, and I wasn't sure what this was. From like using it, I'm pretty sure it's just like to clean all the dust and grime. So off of like brand new shoes, I don't think it really did much, but like I also think it would be good if you're like doing this on older shoes, I guess. I don't know. Other than that, I picked up ribbon because I knew these ugly white laces, we're not going to cut it. And then I have this little dish that you can see I already had my paint mixed in. And as for optional supplies, after doing the first layers of like the leather paints on this one, I still wanted like more hints of brown, yellow along the edges, because I kind of wanted to add that like, I don't know, old looking feel to it. And you don't have to do this, it's just what I happen to want for the look. And I was too lazy to wait to order another one of these guys because he took like a week to get here. So I went ahead and just used my watercolor palette, and that worked pretty well, I will say. So it would probably be more sensical to just get another shade of like these if you want to do that, but you can use other paints. I just have these watercolors, and I used a sponge brush and a paintbrush. This is like a water brush, but you can use any paintbrush. Hair everywhere. Here's the shoe. I'm gonna take the laces out really quick. The instructions for this said to use this with like a cloth, so I just went ahead and got an old t-shirt, and that's what I used. I just kind of opened it, and the nice thing about these is the smell wasn't too strong, at least in my opinion, so I didn't like, you know, die doing this indoors. And then I just kind of, I don't know, did what they told, wiped it. I genuinely don't know if this did anything to it, but hey, I did it on the first one, so I'll just do it on this one. So again, I pretty much followed what these instructions said and then kind of improvised. So this brush doesn't really work very well for doing this part. It does work for like getting into the little details, which is what it told you to do. So you basically take the paint and you put it directly onto the sponge, and then you're going to put it in. But first I'm going to mix a little bit more. So for this shade, I did a little touch of this ice color, and then, oh geez, a little touch of the white. And you do want to like shake or mix these before doing that. So go ahead and just paint that onto here. And then you just kind of go to town, yeah? And when you first start, it kind of gets like really bubbly, so you can kind of like spread it around if you want, but I find that as it dries, it's not too bad. And the first layer will go on really bubbly, but the more you kind of blend it, the more it smooths out. Another thing I really liked about these is that they dry super quickly, because I'm an impatient gal. And so by the time I like finished the first coat, I could go back to where I started, and that would be already dry, and I could just go on the second coat. So it didn't like take hours and hours, which I very much appreciated. Did the one coat, and now I'm going to go back in and do the second coat. For this one, I did about 3 coats, give or take. Some areas I did a little bit more. I think it would definitely depend on the color you're doing and the color you're starting with, because I'm going from white to like white basically. Alright, now this is a part you totally can stick if you're wanting kind of just like the nice new shoe effect. But for me, I like things that look old and beat up and gross. So what I went ahead and did is I got my watercolor paints, and again, it probably would work way better if you just got more of these, but you know, we're improvising. And then I just did exactly what I did with the other ones, because I found having a little bit of the old paint still left on the sponge helped blend it out. Okay, so then I just started in the edges here. So I went along all the seams, all the edges, kind of up on here, on the heel, just anywhere where I felt like a little bit of yellowing or worn outness would make sense. Although I feel like it would be easier with the dyes.
also kind of feel like the watercolors blended really nicely and kind of got a really light effect, which is what I wanted. So I don't know.
All right, so that is it. This is the finished shoe. Now, as you can see, I kind of went ham with the yellowing, but that's just because, I don't know, I like the way shoes look when they're kind of like stained and old. I am using Mod Podge Satin acrylic sealer because I didn't want to go full matte. I do have matte Mod Podge if I end up deciding matte would look better, but I'm going with satin. I don't know if this will work. I have no idea. I bought this today, but we'll see.